So in this triangle, we look at, in this exercise, we look at triangles which are similar. So what I mean by that is you'll see triangles like this. This is a big triangle. What if I cut it from here? Now you see a smaller triangle, right? So if I draw the smaller triangle here and the bigger triangle, these look similar, right? But look at the sides, look at the ratios. So this is this length, let's give it a name, A. And let's say this is B, right? So A and B are in a ratio. And then the hypotenuse, so let's call this A1. And this length, the entire length is B1, right? So A1 and B1. And let's look at the lower length. So this lower length is A2, and this entire length is B2. So A2 and B2. So if you remember this and we resolve or solve for one of the variables, we'll get our answer. So let's try an Excel. So now we have this from F7, Algebra 1. So let's isolate the two triangles. So we have one up here. Four and 3 HFG, and we have the bigger triangle down here. IDJG. Now what is this length from 4 to I? This is the from G to I, sorry. That is the sum of 4 and 4. So this length is 8, right? So now we have two similar triangles with different lengths. So let's look at the corresponding sides. This blue mark is corresponding to this, so let's write that. And then use a different color. So the green mark is corresponding to this, so 3 and D. What do you think we are finding? We are looking for D. So let's use SADMAP. We see division. So what's the opposite? Multiply. So let's multiply D on both sides, right? These two D's will cancel. So now we have D times half, because this will solve as half. Let's use this. So half D, or D times half, is equal to 3. Again, we see a division. We are going to multiply. So let's multiply 2 on both sides. So now the 2's will cancel. So let's cancel the 2's on this side. And on the other side, we have 3 times 2. So that is 6. So let's put in D as 6. And submit. That's how you get out of it. Let's try this one. So let's look at this shape. So how to obtain corresponding sides? One easy way is to look at the angle and the side opposite it. So if I look at this diagram, I have this, right? And we have some angles that are marked. So we'll use that to our advantage. So let's look at the angles that are marked. So we have a triangle that is upside down, like this. And we have a triangle that is straight up, like this. We can even flip it so that it looks more like our upside down triangle, or flip the upside down triangle. It's up to you. But one easy way to work with similar triangles is start out with the angles and then see which sides are opposite that angle. So if I start with angle D over here, I know that there's an equal angle D over here in this diagram right here. Look at this part. So we've got some sides that are marked. This is 3, this is 4. I'm getting these values from here. And this is J and 8. So what is opposite this angle in this diagram? 4. What is opposite this angle in this diagram? 8. So that becomes your corresponding sides. So those two values become your corresponding sides. Then let's mark another angle. Angle B is shown as these two things. Let's look for the equal angle in the other diagram. That's up here. So these two angles are equal. So what is opposite this angle? 3. What is opposite this angle? J. Right? So let's solve this. Again, we'll use SADMAP. We see division. So what's the opposite? Multiplication. So let's multiply both sides by J. So this will cancel, right? So you've got 3. What's 4 divided by 8? That's half. You can use a calculator for all these things. So half. So again, we've got division, right? Right here. So what's the opposite of divide? Multiply. So I'll put my working like this so that here these two will cancel. So multiply 2. So J should be 6. Let's plug that in. You might need a lot of assistance and help. So we'll work through this together, okay? And then we'll get our solutions. All right, let's try a third one, just to ensure that we are getting things worked. Okay, so let's look at this diagram. Okay, so we have this. In the diagram below, triangle LMN is similar to OMK, find H. So let's draw the two diagrams. It's always best to isolate them. You'll see that the question becomes much easier just by isolating the diagram. Look at equal angles and what is opposite it. Okay? So let's start with the first one. We have these two equal angles. What is opposite? H and 10. So we got that far. H and 10. And we write those equal sides as a fraction. Then what all do we have that is equal over here? So if I flip this diagram, this one, I'll draw it in maybe green. So if I take these points and I flip it, so this will come down and this will come over here, right? And then I rotate it, like I reflect it again. So then L will come down here and you'll get this shape. Now do you see the similarity? Right, so L is here and N is here. So let's draw this diagram upside down. So if I draw this upside down, I'll get L over here, this is M, and this is N. So this length is 4. Now see, it's corresponding with the other one. And this is H. So corresponding and corresponding. So let's write the second diagram's ratio. 4 and 8. We need H. Again, SADMAP. We see a division. What's the opposite of divide? Multiply. So let's multiply 10 on both sides. So H is equal to 4 divided by 8 times 10. So that's half times 10, which we get as 5. So let's plug that in. again, I would exhort everyone in the room to make sure you're getting help on these questions. These are logical questions, they carry a lot of points, but it will only work if you're willing to engage in a discourse. I would recommend students to maybe team up with someone, or you work with the teacher. Teaming up will get you extra points, remember. Peer assisted learning. That is something I want to encourage you guys to do. So please look at it. See how we can do these questions. All right? Have a nice one. So we've got this question over here. Now there's a triangle. Let me get a color for this. So there's a triangle like this. And now there's a triangle over here. And the equal angles are right here. So let's use a different color. So let's show this as blue and this as blue. And this as yellow and yellow. So let's look at the yellow values, 3. And let's look at the blue values, R and 8. So I'll erase this and put it in blue. And I'll erase this and put it in yellow. Sorry. So we've got these values, right? Now let's solve. So let's put the yellow ones together. So 3 divided by 6. And let's put the blue ones together, R and 8. So we've got SADMAP, right? We see division. What's the opposite of division? Multiply. So let's multiply both sides by 8. So R is 8 times 3 divided by 6, which gives us 4. So this length is 4. So let's plug that in. And that's how we get our answer. So what are we doing? What's the conclusion? Right? What is our... So we'll see 2 triangles. Within those 2 triangles, we'll notice something that are exactly the same. That would be the angles. So the angles will be congruent. So this angle will be this. This angle will be right here. And this angle will be right here. Right? So we look for equal angles is what you're always looking at. And then you see the side opposite that angle. So 2 steps. First you look for equal angle, then the side opposite it. So let's name the side. So let's call this A and A1, right opposite the black part, the black angle. Then we see the red angle right here, this one. So let's call this B and B1. And then we see the blue angle right here. So let's call it C and C1. So what is our equation eventually? So A and A1, B and B1, right? We start with the smallest diagram, we'll write the smaller one for all of them. And we'll equate all these ratios. So these are our corresponding ratios for all the sides. Once you get 2 ratios, you use 2 to solve for the variable that you need. But you'll be able to write all these ratios as needed. Okay? So this is how we'll do this.